So today I'm trying a little bit of an experiment. I'm not sure how this is going to work out. If it doesn't work out well, I may not even post it, but I'm going to try to make some beef barley soup. Just a couple portions, not a big batch, just a little bit different from what you're probably used to seeing me make big batches of stuff. I've got this last little piece of prime rib from left over from the prime rib video. I've been saving it. It's the end cut, and I'm gonna make a couple bowls of soup out of that. I've got some carrots, some celery, and some onions. I got a little fresh parsley I'm gonna chop up and throw in at the end. I got the leftover au jus from the prime rib video, and I got, I think, a jarred mushroom. I'm gonna do a couple splashes of red wine, and that's and some barley. I don't have that out right now. And so what I'm gonna do here is just kind of get my pan going. I'm gonna, once my pan's warmed up, I'm gonna throw that into the pan, and I'm not gonna use oil. I'm actually gonna use some of the fat off the top of that beef au jus. And this au jus is going to be a little thinned out, so I might actually, or going to be a little thick actually, so I'm actually going to thin it out with the juice from this mushrooms. So I'm going to see how that works out. And I don't think I need a lot of spices. Most of the spices are on the meat because this is the end cut. If anything, I might throw in a little extra dried thyme. But for the most part, that beef is pretty well seasoned. You don't have to brown the meat either, at least I don't think so. So I'm just going to throw that in there at the end. I don't want it to get overcooked or get too tough, so it'll probably be the last thing that goes into the soup as well. So let me get this frying up and I'll show. Okay, so the fat from the au jus is melting and starting to sizzle. I got my vegetables here. Quick note, I did salt and pepper the vegetables, so they're ready to go into the pan. Most of them into the pan. Looks like I lost a few. Have to play a little go fetch there. That smells good already. That just the fat from that au jus smells like the prime rib we had a couple days ago. And I'm just gonna saute those until they start to soften. Maybe a little brown on the onions, but we don't really want to brown them up too much. But I'm gonna try to get them to soften a little bit first. And then what I'll do is throw in some mushrooms and their juices, and a little bit, about half and half of the au jus and the mushroom. I may have to add a little water. My only concern here is this soup being a little too salty, being that I'm using most of the old au jus, which was pretty salty to begin with. So thinning it out is going to be a little bit more important than salting it up. Okay, so I probably sauteed those for about 8 or 9 minutes. And here I'm just going to splash in a little of the wine, just a splash. I don't want too much wine flavor in my soup, so I just want to splash just to really balance it out, the flavors a little bit. But I don't really want to notice the flavor. And then here I'm just going to dump the whole jar, juice and all, into the mix. Now I'm going to let that come up to temperature, and I'm also going to put about equal amount of the au jus. I'll probably bring it right about up to here, just maybe a ½ inch over the vegetables, and then I'm planning on having to add a little water to it as well. So let me get that going, and actually I can throw that in right now. we go. And again, like I said, I'm just guessing. I'm just really kind of throwing this together and trying to use up some leftovers, really. So we're going to see how it... Okay, so what I did next was just dice up my beef. I'm not going to put this in till the barley looks like it's about halfway. I don't want that to overcook, like I said. I also made a really thin batch of beef broth. This isn't too salty at all. This is actually pretty weak. And I'm just going to use that to thin out the soup as it's needed. Okay, so now another thing I noticed when I was pouring in the barley was a bunch of powder. Dust was coming off of it. So, and I watched a couple videos and I saw that they actually rinsed it. So I'm going to do the same thing here too. I don't know how necessary it is, but like I said, I don't want this to be a little too milky. This is coming to a boil now, so I'm just going to go ahead and put that in. They say that puffs up pretty good, so I am not quite sure how that works. I'm going to turn this down to about a medium-low simmer, and I'm going to cover that, and I'm going to let that go about 25 minutes, check on it, and maybe add the beef. Okay, so here we go. After about 25 minutes, looks like the barley's starting to puff up a little bit, and this looks a little more like gravy than it does soup. So at this point, I'm going to thin it out with a little bit of my light stock that I made. And I'm also going to go ahead and throw the beef in. Again, I got this on medium-low. Looks like it's turning out pretty good, actually. And I'm going to let that go another 20 minutes. And then I'm going to test it out and see what I think about it. So this turned out basically exactly the way I wanted it to. I just threw in the parsley and stirred it around. The barley is all cooked up. And I've already tried some of this. I'm just going to show you how it looks plated up. But for the most part, the beef is still tender. The vegetables are just right. And it worked out pretty good. I've already tried it, like I said, and I really enjoyed it. And I think it's something that you'd want to try, especially if you have leftover prime rib. If you've made my prime rib recipe, or any prime rib recipe, if you have extra beef left over, definitely don't let it go to waste. I hope you enjoyed that, and thanks for watching.